All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be predicting where the top NBA free agents will land during NBA free agency that's about to take place next week. Or actually, I should say Monday. I'm recording this video. It's going to take place Friday, Saturday. So in the next few days, excuse me for that. But I'll be predicting where the top NBA free agents are going to land. Starting with James Harden. Where do I think James Harden's going to land? I think he's going to stay put and re-sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, there's no better place, no better franchise for James Harden than the Philadelphia 76ers. But the reports are out that James Harden is expected to opt out of his $35.6 million deal and will become an NBA free agent once NBA free agency begins. But I just think it just makes the most sense for him to stay with the Philadelphia 76ers at this particular moment. I don't think he fits anywhere better than the Philadelphia 76ers right now. He's a great fit with he's been a great fit with the Philadelphia 76ers since he's been traded there last year. And the trio of James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey have found success in the Eastern Conference. And the committee that Joel Embiid is surrounded by was one of the reasons why he won MVP this past NBA season. So they found their success in the Eastern Conference. They just got to find a way to get over the hump, get past the second round, overcome those obstacles that they had failed to the last 2 years. You look back at the 2021-22 season, they were stopped by the Miami Heat in the second round, failed to capitalize and beat the Miami Heat in the second round last year. Got eliminated in Game 6. Then this year, in the second round, they got eliminated to the Boston Celtics in Game 7. They were up 3-2, failed to capitalize in Game 6 being in Philadelphia. And they let the Boston Celtics back into the series. They forced the Game 7. They got blown out in Boston. And they just got to find a way to get over this the hump in the second round. Maybe firing Doc Rivers is the answer, but we're going to see if that really is the answer. They got to find a way to get over the hump in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. But James Harden has a great relationship with Daryl Morey and could shine in Nick Nurse's offense. I've said that Nick Nurse would be a great fit for the Philadelphia 76ers if you guys have been following the podcast when they were looking for a new head coach. Nick Nurse he's a former NBA champion, helped the Toronto Raptors win their first NBA title in 2019, but he has a history of lacking flavor in the offense, being creative in the offense. When you got a guy like James Harden, a former MVP, I think Nick Nurse could potentially tap into his potential and how to use James Harden in his offense. So I think he could have a good relationship with Nick Nurse as well next season. But I think it's best for him to stay in Philadelphia. And then moving on to Kyrie Irving. I think Kyrie Irving is going to lead the Mavericks. And I think he's going to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. So hear me out. It's not a good fit for him to stay in Dallas with the Dallas Mavericks playing alongside Luka Doncic. I don't think that was ever going to go to the way that the Mark Cuban and company thought that the Mavericks did when they gave up a haul of first-round picks to get Kyrie Irving when they acquired him by the trade deadline. It sounded good on paper having Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic as a good front court duo, but I knew it. You guys out there watching and listening knew it. That duo was not going to work, and it didn't work at all after the NBA trade deadline. The Dallas Mavericks went 8-12 when Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic were together after the Kyrie Irving trade. And before the trade, the Dallas Mavericks were actually the 5th seed in the Western Conference before the Kyrie Irving trade. And after that, everything went downhill, and they failed to make the NBA play-in tournament, which led them to having a top 10 pick in this year's NBA draft because they weren't able to get into the play-in tournament. Things crashed down when Kyrie Irving came to town. And the Dallas Mavericks a year ago were in the Western Conference Finals, and they couldn't even make the play-in tournament after they got Kyrie Irving. So I think that's done. I don't think Kyrie should come back to Dallas. But I think Kyrie Irving going to LA is the best thing that could happen to him right now at this stage in his career, playing alongside LeBron James, playing alongside Anthony Davis, merging Austin Reeves and company in LA. I think this would be a good fit for Kyrie Irving. I would love to see Kyrie Irving play alongside those two in LA, and I just want to see the duo of LeBron James and Kyrie Irving potentially play together one more time. They had a magical run together with the Cleveland Cavaliers, helped them win their first championship in franchise history. Why not see it one more time? Kyrie Irving hasn't been the same since since he left Cleveland. We've seen him as a leader with the Boston Celtics, having Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. He failed to win a championship there. He failed to win a championship with Brooklyn and with KD. He has nowhere else to turn. I think this is the best time to go ahead and team up with LeBron James again. Kyrie Irving to the Lakers is my prediction. And then Fred VanVleet, I have him, this is a wild card, but I have him going in a different direction. I have Fred VanVleet signing with the San Antonio Spurs. I think Fred VanVleet has a lot to offer in the NBA. He's a really good player. He's a former NBA champion with the Toronto Raptors in 2019. He plays better when he controls the offense. We can dictate the offensive tempo and control the offense. And Fred VanVleet plays good with a big man. We saw how good he played with Siakam and with the Toronto Raptors. And I think he would play good with Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio with the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs have the cap space to make this happen and go after a big name free agent to team him up to get Victor Wembanyama some veteran help. Why not get Fred VanVleet? He could control the offense of Greg Popovich's system next year when he returns. I like the fit. That's my wild card, but I have Fred VanVleet going to the Spurs. And then that moves me on to Nikola Vucevic. I have him signing with the Dallas Mavericks. Nikola Vucevic, he opted out of his contract with the Chicago Bulls, and he's set to be a free agent, which I think this is a good move for Nikola Vucevic. At this point, the Chicago Bulls look like they're going to go in a rebuild. Unfortunately, Lonzo Ball will be out. It's looking like the reports are saying for he's automatically being ruled out for next year's NBA season. So they put a lot of stock into Lonzo. For him to be the future point guard in Chicago, it's looking like that's not going to happen. It's looking like guys like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine could be traded sooner rather than later and get their way out of Chicago. And I think they're going to go in a rebuilding stage very soon. But Nikola Vucevic has a lot to offer. He averaged 17 points per game last year, 11 rebounds during the season, and would benefit being in a contending lineup right now in the NBA. So I think he would play very well with Luka Doncic in Dallas. I think that would be a good fit for him and Luka to play together in Dallas. That's where I have Nikola Vucevic going to the Dallas Mavericks. And then last but not least on my big names, Draymond Green. I have Draymond Green staying with the Golden State Warriors. I understand that Draymond Green opted out of his contract for more money. It's clear that he just wants one more big contract. Draymond Green only had 1 year left on his old contract that would have paid him $40 million next year. He's looking to make more money as he gets older at this particular stage in the NBA career. Can I blame him? No. He's a 4-time NBA champion, former Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best defenders of this generation. Draymond Green deserves one more big time contract in his NBA career. So I think it's clear that it's just about the money. He's stated on social media that he's still $100 million player, and he just wants his money. So I think it's clear that there's nowhere else he wants to play than in the Bay with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson still in their prime of their careers. But the Golden State Warriors, it's smart for him to go back there. Let's be honest. Lakers, anybody, Suns, the Miami Heat, it's just best for him to stay put with the Golden State Warriors. They still have Steph Curry. They still have Klay Thompson. They still have Steve Kerr as their head coach. They still have a roster to compete for a championship next year. I think he'll even be happier to have Chris Paul, a veteran future Hall of Famer, one of the best point guards of all time, to come off the bench. I think he would take the replacement of having Chris Paul as a new teammate compared to his old punching bag, Jordan Poole, who was traded to the Washington Wizards last week. But I think Draymond Green is going to stay with the Golden State Warriors. But that is my prediction on the top 5 big name free agents. That's where I think they're going to go, whether they stay with their franchises, they're on the move. That's where I think those respective players will end up during NBA free agency.